So our little drone here has a simple task to do, and it's to harvest this tiny patch of grass here. But it can't do that without a little bit of programming. Now, it has been a while since I played this, but I know we can tell it to harvest, and then add the little things there. So if we tell it to run, then it harvests a piece of grass. So we get hay out of it, and then we can also tell it to do a flip. So it'll harvest, and then do a flip, yay! So we can just do this once or twice, but it can't run on its own. So we go into the upgrade menu, and then we can unlock a simple loop, while true harvest. So at the front of all of this, we type in while, and then true, and then we do a little bit of this. So these should run in the loop. And check it out, it's doing it. Harvest, flip, repeat. Yes! Now we've collected enough that we can upgrade the speed of our drone and the code execution. Although there's only one little piece of grass right now, so I don't think we really need to worry about speed so far. But now we can use if to have a little bit of a better result. So if the thing can be harvested, then it will, otherwise it won't. So we need another line above here. If can harvest, and down here, while true, it'll do all these things. Or actually, if it's true, it'll just harvest. And then while false, then it'll do a flip. So that should run. And okay, so the grass can be harvested, but not right away. So do we get rid of the while things? So if can harvest, harvest, and then while false, do a flip. Okay, so then we get rid of all this. And it's doing it, but it's not looping anymore. So we need the while false in there? Or do we change it to while true? And now it's just doing flips infinitely. Does the if come later? While true, if can harvest, harvest. There we go, yes! Now it's keeping up with the grass. So we're not harvesting early, it's harvesting like right when it's ready. Oh, that's awesome. That is doing so much better for hay production. And that does bring in a little thingy I wanna show you guys in a separate thing, so we don't interrupt this. But if we tell it to change hat, and then hats.intern.gif, and then afterwards tell it to do a flip, and then we run it. Check it out! Get the piggy out of here. It's a little intern hat for the drone. Oh, an adorable little sticky, I love it. So make sure you guys use this little bit of code, it is awesome. Oh, I love this little drone with its sticky note. We don't need that anymore. We have the best hat in the game. But now we can just keep this running and the intern.drone will just bounce happily, collecting all sorts of hay. And now we can unlock some other things like, expanding the farm. We're definitely gonna need that. And now we can introduce movement. So far we have 3 things in a line. So if we stop this, then after it harvests, then we can tell it to move, and then in parentheses, north. So after it harvests, it should move north. So we run it. Oh yeah, look at it go! And when it gets to the top, it loops back to the beginning. So we don't really need to worry about the if can harvest anymore, because by the time it reaches the first one, it's already past it, moving on to a different piece of grass to harvest. But now we can also introduce planting some bushes. So if we want, we can start planting some bushes and then maybe harvesting them, which, what do the bushes even do? I'm not sure, but we can put it, I think, in the middle here. So let's just have a thing here for resetting the drone, move north again, just once. And then once again, change this to plant, and then entities dot bush, which I guess the E needs to be capitalized. So we do that, and check it out, we planted a bush. So now when we do the thing, it just became grass again, but we harvested the bush and then we got a little bit of wood. So we need to do something to the main code where it will plant bushes when it gets here. So it harvests and then it moves, and then we need to tell it to plant entities bush. So it does that, and then we tell it to move. So plant and then move on, and then it will change things up. Okay, there it goes. So now everything is bushes until it can be harvested, and then we still get grass, but the bushes take a while, and we just kind of get stuck in a loop until the bushes are ready. We're also not getting grass anymore, but I don't think we need the second move north function. So I think what we need is a move north and then more harvest statements, so it doesn't just immediately go to planting. So copy this, bring it back down here, and tell it to move north again. So it is planting, and then if it can harvest the next one, then it does, depending on the timing. I think that's what's happening. It plants, and then if the grass is ready by the time it reaches it, it waits for a plant motion to happen, and then if it does, then it harvests. It's kind of a weird setup, but we are getting grass and wood. It's just a little awkwardly timed, but at least we can expand the farm again. So now it's a 3x3. So now we should be able to set up a few rows here. One could be of bushes and the other could be of grass, but we need to change some things first. So let's reset all this up to here. And then we have a for loop, and I just realized we can just copy the code here. So if we grab this one right here, for I in range, get world size, and then harvest move north. So if we replace this, actually let's make a new window. For I in range, get world size, harvest move north. And apparently this language is cap sensitive. So it's counting the world size, 1, 2, 3, and then trying to harvest 3 times, and then it's moving. So that's not quite what we want. I think it's because it's missing this indentation here. There we go. So it'll do this for 3 times because it's a 3x3, and then it'll move north. So after this, we can tell it to move over 1. So after this, it moves east. So we do that, 1, 2, 3. Yes, and then it moves to the next column. Oh, beautiful. And now we actually have enough hay that we can increase the yield of it. Or I guess grass, but we are getting more grass now. We could increase the speed again, but let's get things under control first. We can also unlock printing. Helps with debugging, sure. Always good to have. Now what I want to do is get some of this set up in the middle here to be bushes, so that we can tell it to plant in the middle here. But I guess now we can actually tell the drone to go a little faster. That's more like it. The best part is I can just let it collect resources while I'm thinking about this. I think we can still set up some coordinate functions. Okay, we should probably reset this. And it needs to happen before the while true, or at least be present in there. So if x equals 1, plant entities.bush. So it should do that if that is the case, and if not, it goes to this one. Can't do an assignment here to check for equality, use equals equals. Okay. Unlocks operators must be unlocked before that can be used. Oh, there's operators, and we can afford it right now. X has never been defined. Oh, there's what we need, senses. So instead of just x, it's get position x. So if that equals 1, then it should plant a bush. I think that'll work, but now it's in the while loop. So we need this to be down here after it moves. Oh, I think that just went. And for some reason it's offset. I think I'm starting to understand this. So now it's letting the bush grow, but it's only planting 1 at a time. So now we got some wood going. Okay, we got it back at the origin. So let's maybe run this through 1 step at a time. So if it can harvest, it'll do that. And then it moves north, but it'll do that 3 times because the world is 3 wide or whatnot. And then it moves east. It gets the position here, sees that it's 1, x equals 1, and then it plants a bush. Then it moves north, but it also just goes right back to there. I don't think we can set up a loop within a loop. Oh, so after it's moving, that resets the get world size. Oh, that is confusing. Okay, I think I understand it. If we want to plant this whole row of bushes, then we need to do another get world size down here in the plant the bushes part of the code. So all of this needs to come down here, and then we do that, and then we tell it to move east. Let's try that. Okay, and then it goes. It planted bushes, and it's getting a little confused on where to start, but we do have a row of bushes going. We need to tell it to somehow plant and then harvest, or harvest and then plant the bush. Can we have more than 1 if statement? Okay, get entity type is what we need for that. So if it can harvest, then we tell it to do that again, but then if it's get entity type entities.bush, then we tell it to harvest and then plant the entity, and then it moves north. We'll see if that works. Oh, error. Doesn't make any arguments. What do you mean? Oh, right, we need that argument. There's always an extra little bit of code that you need. So we need the entities bush thing over here. Okay, we got a row of 3 bushes, and then it goes back. Oh, it is harvesting, but sometimes it's not waiting until it can be harvested. And now we have lost all the bushes. And now we have a row What's going wrong here? Do I need another if can harvest in there? Oh boy. Does that work for ya? Okay, we got a row of 3, and then it's going, and then it couldn't harvest the bush, so it skipped it, and now it does harvest them, but it doesn't always plant them. Do you see what I'm going for, at least? That bush was perfectly harvestable. Why did you skip it? Are there too many move commands? I think it's offset from the get world size. Okay, let's go through one step at a time. So it gets the world size, which is 3, and then it can harvest, so it does that, and then it moves. Oh, and then it goes to here. Wait, what? That doesn't make sense. It should be harvesting and then moving, but it's getting that again? Okay, so it's scanning for the bush entity for some reason before moving. It harvested, and it plants, and then it moves, and it can harvest, so it's moving, and now it moves east, and it gets a position to check for this, and then it's moving, so it is moving twice here for whatever reason. I need like move commands just to reset the drone. Okay, it's at 0. So first it gets world size, 1, but it moves to that right away. Oh, because that's nested under here. I don't have the biggest brain, all right? Just bear with me here. Okay, so it's doing that. So for every world size up to here, it gets the entity type, and if it equals a bush, then if it can harvest, it'll harvest, but it's not entity bush, so none of this is followed. And then it goes again, harvests that, checks for the bush again, and then it goes. For the third time, it gets to there, and then it moves east. And now that it's in position 1 for eye in range, so the world size again, it'll plant the bush, which it doesn't need to now, so it won't. And then it moves north, and then 2, and then 3, and then it moves east. So it goes, and it does that one, and then it does this one, and then it moves east again, and since it's not there, all this gets ignored, and it's moving east again. Okay, so we need this last part ignored, or deleted. That should fix things, but it wasn't starting at 0, so it's a little off, and now it kind of is doing the thing. A little better. I wonder if this move command at the end also needs to go. But now it's not moving north at all, and it's just sticking to like a U shape here. Oh, okay, now it went. But now it's planting and resetting to beginning. So the 3 count is off. I think we need this move north to be later. So if it can harvest, it'll get harvested. And then if it's an entity bush, then it'll plant it and then move north. And then this here needs to happen before the move as well. Let's see if this just runs through once. Okay, so it's just doing the one spot now. Okay, I think I got it figured out, although some of this might be redundant. So if it can harvest, it'll harvest, and then if it's in position 1, it'll plant the bush. And by position, I mean the X position. So it goes, and it does that. Okay. Oh, that fixed it, yes! Oh, classic problem of too much code. That is working beautiful. We have a row of bushes going, 2 rows of grass, and this has been running for a little while. So we do have a lot of grass to play with, and we actually have enough things to unlock carrots, as if we didn't have enough to worry about. And we gotta till the soil to do that. Planting carrots costs wood and hay. Okay, but it's just 1 to 1. But we still need to till the field, and row 3 here is gonna be a good candidate for that, which we can just add on to our main code here. Now we just need if statements for if the ground state is tilled. So while this is working, let's write the code in a different window. So now it needs if get position X equals 1, or not 1, it needs to be 2, because the first row is 0. Honestly, we could just have a till function just on the side once it gets to row 3, so then we don't need this. We just need to tell it to do that, and then we can move it manually, because we're only tilling it once. All right, so let's stop things, move it east, till, nice, and then north, till, north, till. All right, now we just need the plant codes in here in general, but it should be able to not be interrupted here. That's really interesting. There's nothing in the 3rd row, so it's just ignoring it, but soon there will be. So let's bring that back, plant entities carrot, and that should be all that needs. So let's stop this, reset U over to here, and then we slot this code in right there. That should be all that needs. And then row 2, it's not doing it. I feel like something's off with the count. Oh, because there's nothing there to harvest. That's the problem. So if we just force it to plant things, then it should be ready to plant by the next time it reaches there. So we do that, move north, and then that, and then that. There we go, we're getting carrots with a nice little crunch to them too. But our drone is a little faster than they harvest, but at least everything is there, so it will go. It's just a little odd on the timing. Should the if harvest be later? I feel like it should think about those things before it determines where it's at. But I mean, we are getting carrots, so we can increase the yield and cost of them, or we expand the field, or also increase the yield of grass. Don't really need that, and our things are already difficult enough right now. But we do have enough wood to get watering, so now we can actually water the plants. Okay, so the ground can be watered from a level of 0 to 1. Growth speed of a plant scales linearly from 1 times speed at water level 0 to 5 times speed at water level 1? Okay. Ground dries up over time, and we are getting tanks of water right now, which we automatically get every 10 seconds, and a tank holds a quarter value of water. So if we tell it to water when it's at like, say, half, then it should be a 2.5 times increase of the harvest, or the growth speed, which I don't think we need to worry about right now. It might be good for the carrots. Yeah, especially because it skips over the carrots. So we can water the carrots and then nothing else, and then if get... what was it, water? If it is less than 0.5, is that the right comparison thing, or am I missing a statement? Okay, so we do need the equals all the time. So if it's less than 0.5, then use items dot water, and then it can move. Oh, there it goes, yes, it's watering. So now the carrots are instantly ready. Oh, that's amazing. And I kind of forget how quickly it loses water, but I'm hoping that, yes, we don't have to use water all the time. So now we should be able to easily get water and retain a value of water after an initial investment. I think it's working. We haven't watered in a while, but it might water the next go around. Or maybe not the next go around. Okay, those couple watered. Interesting. This one is due for it now. So I think we are on a net positive of water. Awesome, we're watering crops. That did not take a lot of change there. Oh, and now we can unlock fertilizer. Grows plants instantly. I don't think we need to worry about that quite yet. You will automatically receive 1 fertilizer every 10 seconds. Good to know. But now what I'm really excited for is this maze here, but what is that? I'm not sure, but is it time to increase the field? This also clears the farm, which is kind of a problem, but actually not really. If we do this, then yeah, the field expands. Oh, let's just reset the drone. But it should be able to keep this being a row of bushes, this a row of carrots as soon as we till it. We should just have a till program here. So we set up a while true. If it does that, then till, and then move north. So we just tell it to move over there, and well, it should be tilling. Oh wait, that's position 2. There we go. And if it tills the soil, then it turns back into grassland, but there we go. And we also have a row here that's still grass, but everything should be the same. Oh, I forgot, that relied on carrots being there. That's why I was thinking about the harvest code being at the end. So let's reset this. We need to move this down. Or actually, I think all of this just needs to be scooted up one. So it thinks about all of those things before moving on. Yes! Oh, beautiful! Now the code should keep up if we expand the field again, and then we can figure out what to do with that last row. Not really sure what to do with it, which, speaking of, we can afford to upgrade the field again, but we also have some other things to think about here too, like sunflowers and power? I'm not sure, but we can get trees, or a better way to get wood than bushes. So this might be something that's worth using the fertilizer for, but they like to have some space. So if we expand the field again, and then it goes back to the beginning, does all of that, replants all of this. Oh, that is so beautiful. We can keep up with a growing field. But that one, I forgot it needs to be tilled. Code triggered a warning? Oh yeah, cannot plant entities. That's fine, just gotta do this manually again because I can't be bothered to change things there. That's more like it. And the field actually expanded more than I thought it would. I was thinking it would just give us 1 more row, but it actually gave us 2. I would like this area over here to be trees, but maybe we can actually just put some trees in the wood row here. Well, before we get that going, we can increase the yield of bushes and trees, which will be good. And we can receive more water, which will be good all around. So that way we don't run out, even though I don't think we're going to. There's also more things for coding we can get over here, like variables. Might be good to have. And then lists and define functions. Oh, okay, so instead of typing out a whole bunch of things, we tell it to do this, and that means this thing. Sweet. And now let's get some more yield from the bushes and trees and whatnot, because we can afford it. And we can afford this one. And let's see what sunflowers are about. They collect the power of the sun. You can harvest that power. What do I do with that though? As long as you have power, the drone will use it to run twice as fast. Oh, wow. Doesn't really help my tree dilemma though. We might be able to redecorate this to be something, and then all the bushes and trees and whatnot can be over here. So that would mean changing this to be number 3, because that's here. But we don't want it to be every single one because we want some of that to be trees. And this can be like a checker pattern, I want to say. Do we have or statements? Okay, we do. So if it's 3 or 5, then it can plant bushes. Or would it be better to do and? So those become grass, that's fine. We should see these 2 rows become bushes. And now it isn't. So I think and is thinking it has to be both. So let's do or 5. Or it's doing all of them as bushes. What's going on here? I just changed it to an or statement. Why is it making everything bushes? That is not how this is supposed to work. Back up here, back up. Okay, at least it can pick up where it left off. It should have been just reading the X position there. So, or evaluates to true if at least one of them is, which is what I was hoping for, and then and is only if both values are true. So, it got messed around here somewhere. This should be 3 or 5, but it's just doing it. So it gets the position, which it should be 1, but it still decides to plant. Okay, if we're having trouble changing things over here, maybe we can change it over here. And then just have the grass be over here. So if it's get position 1, and then we can tell it from there, if its Y position is equal to 1 or 3 or 5, then it can plant a bush. But really that's about it planting a tree. So it's doing that and then bush, but now it's just doing a whole bunch of trees. Something about the or statement isn't working as intended. Although I wonder if we fertilize this, it'll offset it quickly enough. How fast does it get with fertilizer? Makes plants grow instantly. That's a lot of fertilizer to use for these things. Oh wait, some side effects. Plants growing with fertilizer will be infected. Half of its yield will turn into items weird substance? Weird. I mean, we are still getting trees, so I wonder if we could just water that grassland right there as well. But this weird substance, could that be what that is? I want to see that. Use item, items.fertilizer. Okay, so does it guarantee infect the plants? Plants grow with fertilizer will be infected. Oh, that is it! So does it still give us some yield, or will it only be weird substance? It's only giving us weird substance, but it's giving us 100 of it. I think. I didn't really see the wood go up. Oh wait, we are getting wood. Oh, so it does do good. Okay, so we can get both. We're getting the stuff that we need. We just need to receive more fertilizer and probably more water too. We could combine both of them. And I think we're getting water quickly enough. We could do both of them here. It's interesting how some of these things give more than others. Like this one says it'll give 100 of each, but this one only 20. So not sure what that's about. But at least it is good that we're getting so much weird substance at a time. So now we can get the maize. Oh, what? Weird substance has a strange effect on bushes. If the drone is over a bush and you call that, the bush will grow into a maze of hedges. Size of the maze depends on the amount of weird substance used. So to make a full field maze, we do that. And there's a treasure hidden somewhere. If you use harvest anywhere else, the maze will simply disappear. I see. So we can have our drone solve a maze? I need to see this. Let's stop this. So let's make a new window, call it maze. Or I guess maze creation. And then where was that full size thing? So we put that here and then just run it. Whoa, hey, we made a maze. Does our field say tilled? Entities hedge, grounds, grassland, grassland. Okay, so it is all grassland, but now we have a maze that we can solve. So we could move things through, but if we try to move east, and then again, we can't. Well, I do know that the general rule is that if you keep your hand on the right side of the maze, then eventually you'll solve it. But actually, there was a variable, right? Or am I thinking of something about the senses? I thought there was something about it checking, like, things next to it. Oh, wait, I read this wrong. Okay, but we can still set up a maze solve thing. And the problem is if we harvest anywhere that the treasure isn't, then the maze just disappears. So I think first it needs to be a move function, and then while false, it'll move east, and then just a continuous thing of while false statements. So if one thing doesn't work, it'll move on to the next thing. I feel like this might not pan out well. Too much indentation. Okay, so it moved, and since it can't move anymore, it lost track of what it was doing. Or wait, there was something about can move. Can check if there is a wall without moving. Oh, weird. We can use substance on the treasure to increase the amount of gold and then move it somewhere else. Oh, but wait. Reusing a maze doesn't give you more gold than just harvesting and spawning a new maze. Interesting. But we still have to set up finding it. So the can move thing can be used to check if there's a wall without moving. So I think we need that first. Instead of move north, it becomes can move. Can move takes an argument. So we need the argument. Okay, we just gotta redo all of this. So if it can move, it's like, yes, I can move there. Okay, so we ask it if it can move north, and then while true, it'll print yes, and then while false, it'll print no. Or I guess maybe not do any of that. We can tell it to print 1 for true and 0 for no. Whoa, it's doing smoke signals, but it's saying it can move north? It shouldn't be able to. It's supposed to check if there's a wall there. Hold on, delete all this. So if it can move north, then while it can, we tell it to move north. But now it's not. So instead of while true, if we do if true, then it can move north. And then if false, then it asks, can it move east? And then same thing. So let's just try that. If it can't move north, it should move east. And instead it gets to the false thing, and then it stops. But it shouldn't be able to, because there should be a wall there. What if we get rid of this can move? Same thing. Do we need this true statement? No, because it still thinks it can move north. So I think we need to use these else elif statements. If, then it does that, and then elif, because it'll do that, or else it'll do that. Okay, I don't think we need a can move at the end there. Oh, it actually moved. Oh my gosh, it's moving! Okay, we're onto something here. So we can set up a while true at the beginning here, and then it should start to do things to solve the maze. And then before this last else, we need another elif for a different direction. It's not gonna be perfect right now, because there's turns in the maze that we're not supposed to go down, but I just want this to work. We can make it exist and then perfect it later. Oh, look at that! It's making it through, but now it's stuck up there. Oh my gosh, it did all of this on its own. Oh, proud of the little guy. But okay, we need to stop things because it's prioritizing some directions over others, and there's not really a good way to do that. So we could tell it to go west last, and then here we do south, and then west right there. Okay, it moved one step further, and now it is stuck. But it's almost to the treasure, because it moves south like it should, but then it loops back to north right at the very end. I guess we could just cheat it the last couple of steps, and now it's at the treasure. And then if we just bring in something else and tell it to harvest, then we got the treasure. 36 treasure, because we have a 6x6 farm. And then we can change this back to farming, and it should resume. Oh yeah, we can bring the farm right on back, but of course we gotta till things again. We should tell it get ground type if ground type does not equal grounds.soil, then till. I think that fixes it. Oh, yes, it does! Oh, I love it when things come together. That's what I love about things like this. Like you make something and then you get to see it do the thing that you told it to do and it just works. Oh, that is so good. And then it's not tilling the ground again because it is soil. Oh, this is working beautifully. And then hold on, we tell it to stop. We tell it to create a maze. And now we tell it to do this, but now it's going up to a dead end. So, is there a way to do the right-hand thing that I mentioned earlier? I think we established that as the order. So we change these around to the right is east, and then which way do you turn for that? If you turn to the right, then your right side is the south. Never mind me actually moving IRL to figure this out. Don't worry about it. So north is last, but then it gets stuck. There's not really a good way to prioritize the directions, is there? I mean, we could solve it manually, but what's the point of doing that if you can program a drone? Although there is another thing where we use measure, and then it returns the position of the treasure. So measure, and then it'll do something, but I wanted to print that. If we tell it print measure. Whoa. Oh, that is cool. It actually did that. Oh, that is fun. More smoke signals. Okay, so we can base the solving thing around the coordinates that it gets. So we have all this initially, and then we can do if-else statements around the coordinates that it gets. Oh boy, this is gonna take quite a bit of code, isn't it? So we tell it to line itself up with the treasure if it can, and then if it can't, then it figures out where it can move. Okay, I think I've got a good direction on what I wanna go with this. So it measures, and then it asks if the drone is in line with this, but it's hard to figure out how to get this going because a code block can't be empty here, so it says. Although I guess I could just have it be like this, and then we set up a way for it to read what the measure is in here, and then play off of that. So for now, let's just enter this manually. So if x position does not equal 0, then it will do the move things here, but it needs to move closer to that, not just east. So this might depend on what direction it's going, but I guess for now we can tell it to move west initially. We also need an if position thing for y, and if that doesn't equal 2 in this case, then in this case it needs to move north. And can we do a bunch of elif things in here for all the directions? So it focuses on the x to get in line with it, and then it focuses on the y. I think that might work. So it does all this. This needs to be east. So we can try this once. It measures, and then it prints, and it gets position of the drone. And if it doesn't equal 0, then first it moves, but then it can't, so then it moves south. Okay, so it goes through all that, and then it checks the y, which puts it right back where it was, doesn't it? Yeah, because it's going through all of those, and then it gets to that one. But then if we remove this, and then it goes, it prints, and then it's stuck sideways. But then if it tries everything else before moving east, then, oh, that went really well there. But now it's position 0. So now it's stuck there. And then we introduce the get position y. And if it doesn't equal 2 in this case, then we copy all this, but with a different order. It's a little bit of brute force because we know the treasure is north of the drone, but it won't always be that case. And if it can't move anywhere else, then it moves south, which is gonna be kind of weird because once it leaves this and it'll go back to doing that, and sure enough, there it's getting stuck because once it leaves that position 0, then it does this thing. But then how do you balance both? Oh, wait, I got it. So right now, it's if it's not 0. This is set up in a good way for if the x position is greater than 0. And this is in a good position for if it's less than that. So we just gotta repeat this for greater than or less than, and then it'll work its way to the middle. Bear with me here, I think I'm cooking. We just gotta change up the things for if it's less than the value in here, which we could define this. How do we define things? Trying to think about how to clean this up. Comments? No, not that. You guys handle the comments. Okay, I think this values thing is what we need. So x equals, it's the x value of the treasure, so in this case 0, and then y equals 2 in this case. Is it gonna work if it's in a separate window? I think that's where the name scopes come from. But if we do that up here, where we set the values here first, and then we just have this be like, I don't know, scan over here, then we have the measure. Actually, do we even need that? Can we just do the print measure here? See, yep, it does that. And then over here, we set the values. So now we can just put x because now it's defined. And then here, y, same thing down here, and then here. Okay, now we just gotta change things around. Okay, things should be right in the code, so if it's higher than the treasure, then it moves south. If it's lower than the treasure, it moves up, and then other things. I feel like it might trip up somewhere. And sure enough, it is in the same spot as before. So it's not greater than or less than, it's equal to. So I think that's where the issue is. Actually, what happens if these become elif things down here instead of if after the first one? Because since it's not greater than or less than here, it should skip this one and then go to this one. So if we run that, and now it's going backwards kind of, because it's still thinking about this, but it's not greater than the X there. It's equal to it. Oh wait, it's not printing correctly. That must be why. There we go. Okay, so yeah, it's reading 0, and if I change this to Y, then it's saying 0 as well. Really quick, what if I just cheat the drone above the thing and then run this? Then it kind of reaches it, but it still gets stuck once it reaches 0. That's so weird. But I mean, we're at the treasure, so just, I don't know, harvest it. So we can say that we did it, and maybe it just needs a new maze. Because now if we do this, it's somewhere else, but it's still messing up when it reaches 0. Well, you know what? We've solved the maze twice, so we can just figure things out later, and we can enjoy our farm as it runs normally, with the drone being able to do that correctly at least. So I'd say we've done good here. Although really quick, there is one more thing I want to do, because I saw this running through the code. There's a thing for petting the piggy. So we tell it to do that. Oh my gosh, it pet the pig. Oh, that's amazing. I love that so much. And I love the results that we got here. The maze still needs a little bit of work, but our farm is doing pretty well here, I might say. And there are some other things we haven't gotten to yet, like cacti and then dinosaurs. Tell a drone to excavate some things. So if you guys want to see more of The Farmer Was Replaced, then be sure to let me know. I really enjoyed this. And make sure you use that InterndotGif code to get the little sticky note for your drone as well. This is amazing. Thank you guys very much for watching, and sub to Intern.